and gentlemen, as always, I'm your host, Airsoft Al, and this video is something I've been kind of toying around with, but it wasn't until, of course, I posted the, thing in question, the subject of this video in question, and of course the NCR Cosplay and Airsoft group, that people actually want me to talk about this and actually show how it's done. Or at least how I personally made this. Now, I could have done that, yes, but I decided to kind of not do that in a way. I'll get to that in a second, don't worry. So, as many of you may or may not know, I am a crafter by trade. I love making stuff, I love working with my hands. It's kind of what my autism kind of gave me a speciality-wise with, is just being creative with my hands or my brain. And you can tell by that, by either my cyberpunk mask that I made for, of course, my cyberpunk loadout, that is still very much so a work in progress, but I'm very much so love this mask, and I'm happy with the way it turned out. Or, of course, my gloves, which are a kind of mixture of chromes and bronze, trying to get them to kind of change in the light. These are also for the cyberpunk loadout, by the way. But today I want to kind of talk about a project that is, well, affordable, or at least kind of a sub-$50 project, depending on how you do this. I say this because right now I'm just focusing on what I have at hand and what you may have at hand at your own home. And if not, no worries, I'm basically going to have a link down below to a Amazon list to where you guys can kind of use it and be like, you know, I can get this myself and I can have a little fun with it. But right now, the things you'll need for this project is one that I posted about and is the subject matter of this video. This is, of course, the classic Fallout combat helmet. Now, unlike a flashlight, I have a camera. The camera is the DVR4, or just DVR sports camera, or sports DV sports camera, what have you. And I have it set up like this because originally it was flipped around upside down to where the camera was more up, instead of like this right here. I will be talking about this, but in reality, I'm going to show you how I actually made something like this. So, basically, the components of this mostly are just a old belt I have, the camera mount I have, and of course the camera itself. But this is more or less for the camera, not really a flashlight, because in the game it's a flashlight. But in this case, I mostly modeled it off of the Fallout 4 combat helmet, as well as the classic combat helmet mod in Fallout 4. But looking around, I decide, what the hell, why not go ahead and go with the actual classic combat helmet from Fallout 3 in New Vegas? And when looking at that, well, it shouldn't be that hard to do, actually. First off, you're going to need a helmet. The M88 helmet here I have is actually my first helmet I ever got, and this thing was about $20 or so when I first paid for it. And if you go to the Amazon link down below, I found the exact same one, to a degree, mind you, for about 26 bucks, so, you know, under $30. That's the first thing you're going to need for this. Second thing you're going to need is a nondescript action camera head strap. Remove said straps, and, well, that's actually pretty intuitive, because the first one up here, you can actually remove. The ones that would be on the side here, you can actually move from the back, and it's very easy to actually get out. We'll talk about this in a second, and exactly why this is needed. Don't get me wrong. We'll get there, I promise. Next, you're going to need some Phillips head screwdrivers, or flathead screwdrivers, with some associated screws that are actually long enough to go through the head mount, but not all the way through the helmet, as to poke yourself in the head. We'll get to that, I promise, and kind of do a contrast and, yes. Moving on. Next, you're going to need a belt. Any belt, really, just a, you know, this diameter belt, just a belt that you don't need no more, doesn't fit on you, you can't really give to someone else because they're either too big, too skinny, any of that nature. Just any sort of fabric type belt. Again, we'll get to why in a second. This one's just been done to hell and back, and it's actually going to be good for me, especially when I do what I'm about to do to this thing. Some project knives, because, you know, this is a precision project when it comes to certain parts of it, and we need precision tools for this sucker. So yeah, this is gonna be how it is. And finally, fire! Because of course we're gonna need fire for this sucker. Believe me, working with basically plastic, of course you're gonna need something to heat up certain metal bits to actually make it work and all that good happy jazz. Moving on. And then finally doing hours upon hours of freaking research and reference materials and all this other stuff to basically give you an absolute information overload and or stress you out to no end, to the point that you feel dire as all hell and you just want to lay down in bed and sleep, but you can't, because you know you gotta make content for all the ravaging masses that are watching this. But aside from that, of course, some Picatinny rail along with a certain little thing. Yes, to be exact. This thing here. Reason I say get a bit of Picatinny rail in this is because, well, you're going to want to remove the screw from this and then kind of heat up the end of it, screw it into the Picatinny rail, because that's where you're basically going to be able to mount your flashlight instead of your action camera. But it's just one of those things of you don't have to do it, but it's there if you want to do it, and that's just kind of how I did it. Once upon a time, when a young me was just starting out and modifying things and messing with things and just had no idea what the hell he was doing and absolutely had no clue what he was doing and what it would lead to one day, and the absolute fact that I would absolutely lose my damn mind because people want to know how to make things, how I make things, and all that good jazz. Jesus H. Christ! I need a vacation. And finally, the white string of paracord string, because believe me, that also comes into effect. And yes, some of this will be on the list down below, but if you've already got paracord string, don't worry. You'll see why we want this in a bit. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is, number one, get this. Find screws that'll be able to go through this and attach into this, but won't cause it to go all the way through to poke you in the head, because unlike the other M88 I have that actually have pads that'll cover screw ends that'll probably poke you in the head and give you a mini lobotomy, or attempt to give you a mini lobotomy, this one just has straps. Although then again, you could actually get proper M88 strapping systems to actually put in this instead of what's in there, but this is on a budget. This is what we got, this is what we're doing with. Next, placement. Most of you automatically want to do it like this. Just like that right there. I don't blame you. But for the intended effect of what we're wanting, you want to put it upside down like this. That way, you know, make sure it's lined up real nice and good. That way, when you do have the extended arm to basically put the thing down here, it's proper level of where it would be on the actual helmet. Again, I get it. You know, you want to do it like this, so it's a little bit more, you know, like that. I totally get it, but believe me, like this, totally want to. Next thing you want to do is, of course, have the screwdriver at the ready and screws that you have selected to basically go through this thing into the helmet. And then heat up the end of the screws, so that way they go through the plastic into the helmet mold itself, and it's easier to basically have that plastic mold around it and all that good jazz. Let's see that in action, shall we? And voila! Just like that, you have a helmet mount now. The big thing that you need to worry about is, of course, when heating up the screws to actually have this thing set in, be aware of where you're doing it at so you don't cause a hole to be burned in your floor. Because, again, you are working with fire, and this is my method of basically mounting this thing semi-securely to the helmet body itself. If you need to, you can put, like, adhesive or whatever, basically. But, yeah, so this is basically this. Now, when it comes to the strap itself, like seeing the actual game itself, that's where a lot more fun actually comes into play, and a lot more just, hey, this is kind of how this is kind of how I'm going to do it. So let me go ahead and show you guys exactly what I'm going to do with this, and sort of how I'm going to kind of measure it out a little bit. Now that you have the strap, which of course in this case is the former belt, cut to the length you need it to, for me I've decided to kind of keep it like a little bit of ways away, so that way, you know, I have a way to tighten it a little bit. What you're going to want to do now is basically create about, I want to say, for me I'm going with 6 holes, or at least in this case 3 each holes, and I'm literally going to string the paracord through them, kind of like a shoelace type pattern. And then when it gets to a point where I am satisfied with how long it is, I'm basically going to snip it and then, you know, just kind of have it the way it is. You really don't need me for this part. You know how that is. So I'm just going to do a jump cut to kind of show you the finished product. Because, again, it's not that hard to do. But if you really want to know my process, I'm basically going to heat up a screw and just make holes. And yes, I know this is uneven, but that's, you know, it's not... this is only the second time I've done this, so don't hold me to anything. Alright, folks? And voila! The head strap for you, my good man. And again, this is kind of just not my best work, I'll be honest, but something at least. Again, I'm kind of working with what I got here and what I have on hand. But yeah, this is basically just took a hot needle, made big holes in the belt, and just took some paracord and just wrapped that sucker around there. Now the back stuff, this is where you can kind of have a little fun with it. The back area where a battery would go could be whatever you want it to be. You could actually try and create something out of it. You can try and attach some sort of power pack back here, something or another. But essentially right now, as it stands, it's good to go for anyone who wants to basically do a cosplay or have something for your camera or, well, flashlight, which I should probably go ahead and make that real quick, shouldn't I? Or I leave to you to basically have however you want. But yeah, again, she's done, she's great, she's good, she's so good. But in all seriousness though, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually pretty fun. This is a lot of fun to have, and it is relatively simple to do if you know what you're doing. Again, I know the video wasn't that great. This is kind of my first time actually showing how to do one of these, so again, I apologize in advance. But, again, this is my second attempt from a first attempt which you saw before, and I do hope that you take this video and you actually have fun with it. You actually make your own combat helmets out of this and have a little bit of fun with that. But, yeah, again, simple as simple can be, and if you want to build one yourself, pin in the comment down below is at least the helmet and the camera mount. You know, everything else, if you want to try and source yourself, then yeah, that's fine. Again, I'll also have paracord attached to that link, and yeah. Till next time, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airsoft Al, and see you all in the next video. If you want to help out with future possible build guides, consider donating to the links down below, because those links, of course, you know, you shop with those links, you can kind of help out, and that gives us kickback. Or if you want to help donate directly, consider checking out the PayPal and or Cash App down below. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airsoft Al, and I shall see all you lovely, lovely Wastelanders in the next video, or April 12th when the Fallout TV series comes out. Till next time, later.